One of the things I love about this engine is the way it starts and runs. It has a crispness. People, that's a term that people use talking about banjos sometimes. It has a crisp sound. And I believe it probably has to do with the compression ratio. These old flat top pistons put out a pretty high compression ratio compared to what happened in the 70s. You know, back in the 70s, they decided that we was all going to run out of gas, and they needed to try to figure out a way to slow us down, because all of them, you know, the age of muscle cars, moms were driving to the grocery store in GTXs and RTs and Camaros and all that, you know, and I think they thought if they made the cars where they wouldn't run fast, people wouldn't drive them as much, so it wouldn't be no fun. And there's a lot of truth in that. So what they did was they cupped out the pistons, chopped the compression ratio down from somewhere close to 10 to 1 down to something like 7 to 1. Took them from like 300-400 horsepower down to 145, stuff like that. But this motor, when I hit the starter, it's just like boom, it goes. And I love that. I love the sound, and I love everything, the way it revs up and everything. So I said all that just because I wanted to say all that. And now that I've said all that, I'm going to back this down and get it on level ground, throw a pan under it, drain the oil in it out. I'm going to put some fresh oil in it, and this is non-detergent oil. Basically, it's the equivalent of lawnmower oil, cheapest thing you can buy, but I'm doing that for a reason. I don't want all the lubricating additives in there. I want to have the piston rings seat. And yesterday I saw some evidence that they weren't seated on the right side yet. So I'm going to put some of this type of oil, non-detergent oil, and I'm going to splash some Bon-Ami down in the carburetor. Back in the old days when we used to race, we'd go to the junkyard and get a junk motor and bring it home, put it in the race car, rev it up, dump a bunch of Bon-Ami right down the carburetor, and what it does is it'll scuff up the piston walls, or if you got a new engine like this one, it'll help the rings seat, because you want some friction in those cylinders with those piston rings. Later you're going to want that to be highly lubricated, but before you get to that, you want those piston rings to seat against those cylinder walls so that it keeps oil from sliding by. And you can't do that if you don't rough up the piston wall. That's why people hone cylinders, which I honed this one, but I may not have honed them enough. And I hadn't seen it smoking like that until yesterday. And I was getting on it really hard yesterday, and I was having fun. I mean, I was winding her up. You know, she goes like really quick. And then I noticed she's kind of smoking. I was thinking, yeah, I need to look at that. So I'm gonna do this and that, change the oil, put non-detergent oil in it. I had non-detergent in this to start, and I put a couple of cans because I've had some leaks and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I remembered that I've got some porta-walls here. I got some 15s and some 14s, and I thought, well, I wonder how a set of wide white porta-walls might look on these tires I got on the back. So I might try some of them on there too. Let's crank this baby, and you can hear what I'm talking about. Changed the choke a little bit yesterday. Actually, what I did was I choked it a little more, and then I went back and choked it a little less. And it sounds like it's pretty close to this right now. That ought to be just about perfect right there. Okay. Y'all got any questions? If you got any questions, drive down to Rusty Acres Plantation down in Florida and just go knock on his door. You got to do it during the daytime because he works at night. Well, he sleeps in the day, so maybe you shouldn't drive down there. Just send him a letter, put a $100 bill in there with it, and ask him. He'll answer. He answers all my questions because anything I don't know, he knows. So I ask him stuff too. So it's okay. Okay.